It's important to not have attachments, Keyshawn, you know. You need to be here now.
Be in the present.
Be in the presence, live in the moments.
I mean,
You
gotta
do
do
that?
what you got to do.
Or you could do that.
I like what he said about AG. He went and got the GM.
Keyshawn, is retirement the best option for Aaron Rodgers at this point?
Not yet. Not yet. There's still an option out there, and it's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's going to take 10, would he take 9.5, 9.25?
He said,
like, you know, like I don't care about the money. He can still play football. Pittsburgh is lined up waiting for him to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happens until late May, June, OTAs, mini camps, all of those sort of things. So he's technically training and still on vacation, and I'm okay with that. I'm fine with it 100%. Now, if we get to a point in a time where we're coming up on OTAs and mini camps, and I don't want to see his ass in Egypt, because at that point it's time to go retire. Mm-hmm. Go retire because you're not serious about playing football, obviously, clearly. And maybe he's sending a signal to networks out there saying, hey, $10 million, you know, if you get me close to that, I'm available. I don't have to play football. So maybe he's playing that game a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I think he can still help the Steelers, though.
Pittsburgh does not have a quarterback. They have a pretty good roster, and they have a gaping hole. Mike Tomlin, I think, wants Aaron Rodgers there. They have the receivers. They have a tight end. They have a line. They need a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers presents that option. If he doesn't do it before the draft, it begs the question, does Pittsburgh now feel even more pressure to take a quarterback? They currently pick at 21. We don't believe Shedeur will be available then. Could they come up? Could they come back maybe in the second round, come up and get another quarterback? Maybe it's Kyle McCord or Jackson Dart. I don't know. But what I do know is that they are desperate for a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers apparently still wants to play football, or at least is leaving that on the table as a primary option. With that in mind, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I at least strongly consider Pittsburgh, and I would probably want to do it before the draft so they have some clarity. That's just me.
Man, I'm going to tell you a story. Listen, though, look, so I did 2 years, my last 2 years in L.A. I was going to retire after the first year, so that summer I didn't really work out, and I was like, contemplating retirement. This is similar to what I was doing. I was contemplating retirement. Season started in October. I decided I wanted to play in September. You know what? I'm going to come back. No, this is a true story. So, you know, sometimes when you sit there and you look at retirement, you just like, oh, man. Usually my summers was taken up by working out every day, doing all this. But then I was like, this is retirement. I'm chilling, pina coladas. I'm going to Hawaii. I'm going to Mexico. And I was like, I could get used to this. But then no, seriously.
I didn't say that.
No, that's what it was. But then last minute, I was like, man, I'm going to come back. But retirement is not a bad option, trust me, because I came back because it was free money at that point. Right. It was just like, shoot, if somebody go.
But the difference. Thankfully for the Clippers,
they didn't have to play
basically going for free to give some guidance here and there.
He actually got to play.
Steelers, they need him available every single day to be the starting quarterback and not just stand out there, but also win games and hopefully win them a playoff game because that's what they're bringing him in for. So I hear you, and hopefully that's not what Aaron's doing.
He should retire then.
No, but
because I got 1 foot out the door already. No, if you contemplating it, it ain't all the way there, though. You know what I'm saying,
That's true. You got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But you with the Clippers, in terms of the gas meter, you can only go a block. Your thing was all the way over here. He still got
a block and a half.
He probably got a half tank left.
I have a question. How long, once you decided, Paul, you wanted to come back, how long to really get in basketball shape? And how far were you gone?
No, I wasn't gone. No, I wasn't gone. I was in shape. No, I stayed in.
Even though you were on vacation, you weren't.
I didn't stay in ready to. I knew I wasn't going to play a lot though, so I knew what type of shit I needed for those minutes.
He was.
It's a different starter. Look at starter in shape to off the bench in shape. It's two different things and two different mindsets.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
But another thing though, in basketball, he gonna run. Yes, running up and down the floor. He just like that. Aaron Rodgers has to get some continuity with the team that he's going to. You see what I'm saying? And the receivers. Yeah, but that's not throwing to me in T-shirts and shorts is not the same as throwing to me in pads when we got a system in place and there's certain route combinations that I have to look at as a quarterback. I can visualize, okay, I'm supposed to go to my right. But I'm not looking at any. There's nothing over there. The guy that I'm throwing to is on my left.
Yeah.
But if I got everybody out there and I got 3-4 bodies and I'm calling the play in the huddle and I'm basically doing some sort of pass scale,
Right.
It's just a different situation.
Let me give you a little context because there's been so many rumors, question marks, things said about Aaron and the Jets and the Steelers. So what I did, I asked a current GM, in your opinion, NFC, so different conference, doesn't play them, what would Aaron Rodgers do for the Steelers? So he's not on the Steelers. It's just a playoff team. He said, not on the Steelers. Mason Rudolph, it's probably not a playoff team. Aaron Rodgers healthy on the Steelers. This is a 10-11 win team that can win a playoff game.
Absolutely.
So that's a big dramatic difference. Who knows what happens once you're in the playoffs? Maybe you get lucky, you get a good draw. So if I'm Aaron Rodgers, and I know how good I am, and I know how well I played the last month, and Pittsburgh is my only option. Minnesota does not really and has not really felt like a real option. Pittsburgh is the spot, and Mike Tomlin likes him. Mike Tomlin liked Russell Wilson. That's why Russell Wilson started the second half of the year, even though they were 4-2 with Justin Fields. Aaron Rodgers should be a Pittsburgh Steeler if he wants to play football.
I'm not taking Aaron Rodgers. Look, if he comes back, Aaron Rodgers just wants to eat. He's not hungry.
See, I would think he would be hungry.
He just wants to eat. He's not hungry.
No, I would think he would be starving to death because of the negative. The
understand what I'm
nature
saying?
of things with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But money's not a real fact. I mean, come on. What are
he
we
just
talking
wants
about?
to eat because it's in his blood. You can tell he got
to erase. He got to erase some of the negative doubts about him that's out there. He got to erase
What's
that.
the negative doubts?
Well, first of all,
he's a 4-time MVP, Hall of Fame, Super Bowl champion.
I think it's the
that's
last
never
few years,
going away.
The last year in Green Bay and the last 2 years with the Jets.
Nobody even going to remember that in 5 years.
Yeah,
Nobody's going to remember that. Nobody remember I played with Brooklyn and the Clippers.
No, I do. I remember.
No, but when you think
I remember for sure.
Celts.
No, but think about it though, Paul. No, I know we goofy at times, but think about it though. All of the negativity that has surrounded him over the last several years. Mm-hmm. When you consider yourself to be one of the greats of all time, but there's guys that were considered the greats, and there's one guy who's considered the greatest that all went out on hella notes, like big time. He's looking at that, and he's saying, I can't go out like that when I'm chasing. Well, you ain't gonna never catch Tom Brady, but I'm chasing Tom Brady. I'm chasing Peyton Manning.
If you want to go out better, you would have already made this decision if that's your thought. You know what I'm saying? If that's your thought, this would have been a no-brainer. You know what I'm saying?
But nothing's ever been a no-brainer for him.
But like, if I'm I'm anxious to get back and work out. Like, I can't go out the way I went out with the Jets. I'm thinking like I'm back there throwing. I'm back here. You know what? Sign me up. If I'm just sitting back thinking about that.
If you waited till September,
if I didn't have that. I didn't have that.
He's not expected to be
I didn't go out on the
starting point guard.
Exactly. I was just a mentor.
You know what part of the bench he sat on?
Was he in the second row? Second row.
I sat with the fans.
Last seat, second row.
First class travel. He got to gamble on the plane.
Man, right.
Hang out.
What are the NBA players play spades?
Man, listen, I was sitting there.
Boo-ray.
Sitting there with the season ticket holders, chopping it up. Like,
Boo-ray's the game for the NBA.
Aaron Rodgers talking this much about retirement.
That's what I'm saying.
That tells you what you need to know.
End the conversation about what he's going to do this year and what the Steelers should be doing. You're saying the word. You're not even hinting around it.
He's 41 years old.
I'm aware. He's going to be 42 this year. Why do you think I think this entire situation is crazy? They won 5 games last year. He had a cute month. By the way, they went 2-3.
He threw the ball well at times.
He did.
That wasn't a cute month. That was.
We can play those 3 highlights if we want to run them. We have them on
Let's talk G-Men.
They take up no minutes because it's the same three highlights. Look, Aaron Rodgers is a legend. Okay, here we go. We got them.
3 highlights. That's a nice throw.
Very nice. Handoff, basically. You know,
this right there.
Look, mobile even at times.
God.
Aaron Rodgers.
Let's pull up my 3 plays from the Clippers. I can put together.
Aaron Rodgers is a 4-time league MVP.
Yeah.
At one point, it was argued that he was better than Tom Brady. Some people even feel that he is a better quarterback or thrower of the football than Tom Brady, even though he will obviously never touch the championships and accolades that Brady has. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he will be remembered as one of the greatest throwers of the football that has ever played the game.
You feel like that's
no one is going to remember these Jets years, and no one's going to care, because let's be honest, no one cares about the Jets. And, I mean, these Jets, people care about these Jets? People cared about the 2010 Jets. That was a great year. People cared about your Jets. Nobody is going to remember these Jets. They didn't do anything. Yep. They accomplished nothing. They did not go anywhere. It was chaos. It was all of the norm. That's what I mean, Jets fans. Although I think most Jets fans would probably agree with me.
Nobody remember Carolina Key. Nobody remember that.
Okay.
Carolina Key.
The point is,
that's slow key.
You're gonna double down on trying to fix how things ended in Green Bay. Pittsburgh is a great landing place because Mike Tomlin doesn't have losing seasons. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that he's going to go there and win 5 more games than he did last year and win a playoff game in an AFC that is riddled with young, spectacular talent and great coaching. The rest of the league is moving on. While he is doing whatever it is he's doing, the rest of the league is preparing for the season. They're with their receivers. They're going over they're going over everything. No, they're not in pads. No, it's not time for the season to start, but everyone else is working. You're not with the team. So you're certainly not learning the system. You're certainly not learning the people that are in the building. You're certainly not getting accustomed to the city. You're not there. You're not a Steeler. By the way, if I'm a Steeler, I want to hear that maybe I'm going to retire, maybe I'm going to show up. Okay, well, all that's telling me is that maybe you're here for this year, because you're certainly not going to come back when you're going to turn 43 years old mid-season. So, yeah, if I'm the Steelers, I'm saying, great, let us know if you're going to play this year. Meanwhile, even if you do play this year, we're going to get a quarterback.
Why do I feel like why do I feel like I just got in trouble?
Preach. Preach.
I just got in trouble. I just got to sit here and not say anything until...
Can we go to Psalms 3:13 now?
Wait, no. It really felt like I got in trouble. Like, she's really, like, talking to me. Like, I did something wrong.
Your Jets. No, but don't you feel
wrong.
like him talking about retire? Like, I'm just surprised that you're not more taken back by him being this loud about possibly retiring.
No, I'm not, because he's at the end of his career. Everybody, Tom Brady retired and then came back. Everybody, when you get to the end of your career, Paul Pierce was in Hawaii and Mexico at the end of your career.
Just mentally, you just not in and out of it. You in and out. So when you get to that point, you got one leg out the door.
That's very true. You got one leg out the door.
Because what I knew my role was going to be, he got a different role. So when he thinking like that, with one leg out the door, you supposed to be, that tells me you done.
Well,
you're supposed to be a major starter. You can't have that mindset.
Right. And that may be true.
You know what I'm saying?
But when you have 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you all have already retired in your mind. You just haven't announced it yet.
Yes.
But when somebody comes and courts you, it makes you feel like you still have it. We don't know those personal conversations with Mike Tomlin and the Rooney family in Pittsburgh that they had with him over however many hours of a dinner.
I'm sure they shared lots of pleasantries with him.
Yeah,
but the draft is next week. The draft is 1 week away.
There's not a quarterback in this year's draft that can do what Aaron Rodgers can do for the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. There's not one quarterback in the draft that can do that. You said he can't win 5 more. He don't need to win 5 more. He don't need, because Mike Tomlin going to the playoffs with or without him. He's going to have a winning season with or without him. Give him 3 more games, like Jordan said. Give him a playoff. Once you get into the tournament, anything can happen. We just watched a young quarterback in Washington with the Commanders light up the National Football League at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Then took a little bit of a slight dip, jumped right back up to the top, and found themselves in the NFC Championship game, because what they did is they won enough games to be in the tournament. And that's all you got to do.
And then they had the upset of upsets.
The tournament.
Beat Detroit.
Yes.
They got in and
Once you get into the tournament. And I understand, Joy, you're a long-time Pittsburgh native, and that's, the Steel City and all of those things. I get all of that. But when they're looking at Aaron Rodgers in those few little games, they also looking at several years ago, too, when they watching film. And they're saying, if we could just get him to do that, I think we'll...
But they looking at they ain't got no options either.
Yes, that's true, too.
That's what they looking at.
That's true, too. They don't have any options.
Looking up in Pittsburgh.
I feel like I got in trouble. I got to go see the principal, though.
The New York Football Giants Giants have the third pick in next week's draft that is a week away. And that guy right there, Shedeur Sanders. The Giants released Daniel Jones, their last first-round quarterback, in November, and they've added Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston to the roster this offseason. GM Joe Schoen talked about whether New York still needs to draft a quarterback, though. I love draft time.
Clearly been listening to this show and watching.
Has he? No.
Because?
Maybe there was a little smoke around that,
Well, the
that microphone.
conversation. The conversation.
Let me jump in.
You're already in.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Here's there has been a lot of talk about Abdul Carter at 3. Mm-hmm. He is the best pass rusher in the draft. He might be a superstar. I don't know. I don't know how to evaluate anyone, but I can tell you that the league believes he's really special. I am not convinced that it is locked in that Carter goes 3 to the Giants. It's certainly in the realm of possibility, but I don't think it's this slam dunk that everyone says it is. He visited New England. I thought that was strategic. The Patriots pick 4. Mm-hmm. Shedeur Sanders, to me, to the Giants, is still very much in play. Working out today in Boulder, I believe. The Giants have done extensive work on him. There is a lot to be said about Shedeur Sanders, the charismatic nature that he brings to the table, and what that would mean in New York. And the fact, yes, you have Russell Wilson, yes, you have Jameis, but if you are Joe Schoen and you are Brian Daboll, you need to sell hope. And I don't know how much hope you're selling with respect to Carter compared to someone like Shedeur Sanders. If he comes in and has some moments, you can sell that to ownership and say, this is the direction. This is our future. Plus, if John Mara comes in and says, I want the quarterback, they're drafting the quarterback.
It feels a little bit like a smoke screen. I think I'm with you. Like, yeah, we're good with what we have now. This isn't the direction that we're going to go in. About this time of year, everyone starts saying things that seem very committal, and then they don't end up. I think that the draft could go a bunch of different ways. I really don't think that anything is set in stone because the Browns still need a quarterback. What are we doing?
What is this photo?
Heller gets in my ear. He goes.
Get through anything.
Wait, because Heller gets in my ear.
I know. He did the same
What's
thing.
behind you?
You gotta ignore him. He said the same thing to me, and then I said I register it, and then yes, hello Russ, thanks for joining us. He's in the middle. He's in the middle. There we go. He's right there. Okay. Well, Russ, I think that you're going to do well this year as the starting quarterback of the Giants, but I do think that there's a possibility that they draft Shedeur for you as a mentor, or the 5th member of the show today. Thank you for that, Heller. Paul, what do you think? Do you like the Giants' approach to the draft?
I mean, I don't like what they're saying because I truly believe that, yeah, you got Russ and Jameis, but you need a quarterback for the future. These are all, quarterbacks that are here for a quick cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. You have no future. And see, this is why teams who are bad stay bad. And they have no consistency over the years. They don't know how to build something. And then when they get something that's good, they don't know how to hold on to it, a la Saquon Barkley. So I expect the Giants to mess this up because that's what I'm used to seeing. I expect Cleveland to make a mistake also. I've seen this all across sports. These organizations, they hire these GMs, and it's a wonder, why do these GMs stay longer than these coaches? Well, it's not the coaches that make the final say on these drafts. It's these owners and GMs. And some of these GMs need to be fired instead of these coaches. And this is a real thing. And then you wonder why he's been there 10 years, this coach was there 3 years, when the GM keep giving them players that don't work out. And then you back in the same place you was a year ago. So I expect them to blow this draft, because that's what I'm used to seeing.
I mean, Brian Daboll is his strength is quarterbacks and offense. Mm-hmm. So if you're the Giants, it makes a lot of sense to say, Brian Daboll, what do you do best? You develop a quarterback. Let's get you Shedeur Sanders, a pocket guy, a better athlete that people realize. Here's the other thing, and this has been bothering me all week, and it's been bothering me honestly throughout the entire draft process. Shedeur Sanders, just because he's not an electric runner, doesn't mean he's not a good athlete. He is a good athlete. And if you watch him, you know that. And too many smart NFL people I trust have told me he is a good enough mover and smart enough to manipulate the pocket and accurate enough 20-yard handoff, as you say, Key, to win in the NFL. His arm is good enough. He's very smart. He's been around the game his entire life. his game will translate to the next level. I really like Shedeur Sanders, and I think Giants at 3 is a home run.
I think it's absolutely crazy that there's even the idea that they wouldn't take him at 3 if he's available.
But but see, the thing is, the reality of it is they may not take him at 3, as I said to you guys the other day. And I said to them the other day, we started this particular topic right here. I said, look, in the end, would I take him if I need a quarterback? Absolutely. I would try to take him at 1 if I'm the Tennessee Titans and I need a quarterback. But much to Paul talked about general managers. A lot of things sometimes, and you dig deep into it because some of this stuff is deep.
Yeah.
It's really deep. Self-preservation. Okay? All of a sudden, you take a Shedeur Sanders and it doesn't work out the way you need it to, then there's a dude, got a couple gold chains on, wears his glasses, got his Hall of Fame credentials in football. All of a sudden, people start saying, hey, we need to go get his father as the head coach next year. So people want to stay away from that as much as possible with self-preservation. Not saying that is something that is going to happen, but it's something that could happen.
You're
No,
saying
that's a good
that
point.
prospective
That's a good
teams
point.
with a head coach who maybe doesn't have the highest, degree of litmus test in the building might be worried about taking someone like Shedeur because if things go south.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God, yes. Why wouldn't you? If I'm Joe Shane, and I know that there's a coach out there that's his dad that is really good at what he does, and he's going to get full autonomy and control of the situation, and all of a sudden you look up and y'all didn't have a good year, you're going to be fired, and the next man might potentially be coming in as the father.
Yeah.
That's why you selling it the way you
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
I mean, that's the reality of it. Now, I would take him at 3, but I don't believe that. I honestly don't think it's a smokescreen. I don't think that they're going to take Shedeur at 3. I just don't think they are.
Crazy. But that's a good point, though. They could be worried about that.
They going to be worried about it.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.